What's up and welcome to another episode of Football Every Day, brought to you by Maybank Premier Accounts, coming to you live and direct from Studio V here at Wanutama. My name is Nelsen, joining me today in the studio. Great to have you back, Sheps.
A pleasure
After
indeed, Nelsen.
A long absence, and my good friend Liang.
In the house.
Bro, good to have you with us again.
Likewise, my friend.
First time you're on with Shebby.
Oh yeah.
I've been wanting to do this for a while.
I'm
But
feeling the vibe.
guys, good to have you back on. As I said, Sheps, seeing as you've been missing for a while now, I got to first ask you your thoughts on the past few weeks in terms of how the season has panned out in general, in terms of the title race as well as the Champions League.
Well, to be honest, I think the standard of football has been quite average. Apart from, of course, individual performances, or rather, the Champions League, I think, has taken a lot of the gloss off the Premier League. And as far as the the championship race is concerned, I don't think there's not been any outstanding team or any outstanding individual performer. And this is where I think the English Premier League as a whole has lost out, losing out the likes of Cristiano Ronaldo leaving, and the English Premier League not being able to attract top class talent. So I think there's been an averaging out. I mean, Liverpool have gone backwards more so. Man United, Chelsea and Arsenal, 1 week there's somebody is a favourite, the next week they are not. So inconsistent average performances in the Premier League so far for me.
Right, I totally agree with you. I'm sure you do as well.
Definitely.
So let's get into the weekend's results, starting with Man United's 0-0 draw at Blackburn. Sheps, it looks like they're throwing it away, right? Especially with Chelsea having just beaten Bolton by a 0-0 at Stamford Bridge this morning.
Well, I would like to think so. But Nelson, the way the season has panned out, you never know what's going to happen next. Yes, it was 2 points drop, big points drop. Games like this, you are not going to get too many chances. And when that one chance fell to Antonio Valencia, when Berbatov played him through, these are the kind of chances that decided matches. Don't forget, 2 seasons ago, when you were winning, Cristiano Ronaldo was scoring late in the games. So unfortunately, like I said, the star quality has gone missing from the Premier League, and that was illustrated by Valencia's miss. So yes, you threw away 2 very big points, but as far as I'm concerned, until it's mathematically impossible to catch whoever is in front, I will still say race is wide open.
Right. Would you agree with
I definitely agree, because what happens was, like, the league has changed. The top of the league has changed hands 20 times. So I think it's the word to describe the whole thing would be inconsistent. You never quite know what's going to happen. And I think with 4 games, some 5 games left to go, anything can happen. It could very well turn out to be Arsenal's league title.
I hope you guys are right, but I'm going to be supporting Spurs from now on to the rest of the season. Okay, moving on to the race for 4th place, where Liverpool only managed a goalless draw at home against Fulham, Sheps, which leaves them now in 6 points behind Man City, having played a game more. Look, surely that's it for Liverpool.
It is. It's been that's it for Liverpool for a long time. And if you look, right now, I think they're possibly about 19 or maybe 21 points behind the leaders. Where does that put Liverpool back to where they were? Take away last season, Liverpool have been mediocre, and now the Europa League has become the most important trophy in Liverpool's history. Because Rafa Benitez desperately needs to win that. So sacrificing one for the other is what is happening to them. Let's be honest, they've been a very, very poor side.
Right, Liang?
I would agree.
Australia is beyond Liverpool, right?
I would agree. They really missed like a whole bunch of players that they shipped out last season. So people like Xabi Alonso was pulling the strings in midfield. So I think a lot of it's down to, you can blame it on the Yanks, you can blame it on poor management on the field, you can blame it on the manager. But at the end of the day, it's there for all to see. Liverpool's a very, very poor shadow of themselves.
Right. Okay, and speaking of Manchester City, they continued their recent goal-scoring form by thrashing Birmingham 5-1. Sheps, the opening penalty was a bit soft, right? You've got to agree, but after that, it got City going, right?
I think you've got to give credit to City. They were playing, they were the hungrier team. They're playing against Birmingham City, who for me, even though there's 4 games left, the season is over. They're not going to get into Europe, they're not going to get relegated, and you can see that mood, that end of season holiday mood creeping into the players. We speak about Roger Johnson and Scott Dennis being possibly one of the best centre-back partnerships in the Premier League. They went missing as well. So it is that, the timing, the situation seems to be working for Manchester City. But well done to them. I thought, they fully deserve that win.
So they can finish 4th then?
Well, I would put them right now as favourites to finish 4th,
Right. Very quickly, at the foot of the table, Sheps, Burnley gave themselves a wee bit of hope by finally getting their first away win of the season, the 4-1 beating of Hull City. Sheps, I think it's really the end of Hull, but can you see a miracle happening for Burnley?
Well, I hope not, because I think they've been a very, very poor side. I don't think that they could last another season. It will not surprise me if they go down. And I think Hull City should go down as well. I still feel for West Ham. I think there's a bit more about West Ham than there is to Hull and to Burnley. So yes, great result for Burnley, but I don't think it's going to be enough to save them.
All right, great stuff, guys. But it is time for our very first break here on Football Everyday, brought to you by Maybank Premier Accounts. But we'll be right back real soon with more football chat and banter after these messages. So stay tuned. Welcome back to Football Everyday, brought to you by Maybank Premier Accounts here on the second segment of the show with me, Nelsen, Sheps and Liang. Moving on very quickly with the weekend's results, FA Cup action, Sheps. So Chelsea easily beat Aston Villa 3-0, while Portsmouth battled to a 2-0 win in extra time over Shebby's beloved Spurs. Sorry. So this makes it a Chelsea-Portsmouth final. Sheps, based on his team selection and tactics, it kind of looked as if Harry had one eye on tomorrow morning's derby against Arsenal, right?
Well, and to be honest, I think Harry has let us down in big games. I remember when we lost to Chelsea, to Liverpool, to Arsenal, to Man United. The big games, is where I think we have to really look at Harry and think that has he got what it takes to take Spurs to the next level?
Right.
And it was pretty obvious. I mean, it is the big game. Forget the league. You are in the FA Cup semi-final, there's a chance to win a trophy. Unfortunately, I think Spurs looked very one-dimensional. We didn't have enough tricks up our sleeve, really, to beat Portsmouth. Portsmouth were always going to come out there and try to defend. So they managed to do that. And for me, I'm sorry, I don't think Harry is the man who's going to take us to the next level.
All right, I mean, Liang, bro, got to ask you what you think of the football gods helping Portsmouth get to the final, where former Chelsea boss Evan Grant will now face his old club.
Yeah, I quite see a pattern forming, like, when Mourinho came and the whole hype was about, Mourinho against Abramovich. So I can almost see the headlines like, Avram Grant, is this time for revenge against Abramovich? It's just that kind of a thing. I'm looking at it and it's got a little bit of a flavour to it. So I'm looking forward to it, man.
Do you think there's going to be an upset, Sheps? No? Chelsea going to walk over Portsmouth?
I don't think so. I think Portsmouth have had their day at Wembley in the semi-final. It will be difficult to try to repeat that performance because I think Chelsea have got overall strength. And I think Carlo Ancelotti is now beginning to realise, which players he can use and how to use the players as well. I think it took him a while to realise that when you first come in here, you want to play your star players, and then you begin to realise that your star players don't have the legs anymore. I mean, Deco and Ballack together cannot. It will not work. So I think, and he's been very clever with his team selection. So, well, Portsmouth, well done, but I think it's all over.
All right. So moving away a little from results and all, Sheps, I just want to get your thoughts on a couple of things. Starting with Sir Alex Ferguson. I mean, look, right after they got knocked out by Bayern Munich, right, he goes out and signs Mexican striker Javier Hernandez. Look, I think this is down to him, frustratingly admitting that this season is over, and it's time to quickly plan for the next one, right? And don't you think this shows you why he's been so successful over these past years?
Well, obviously, I mean, yes, Sir Alex Ferguson has always been very, very clever in his signings, and he always finds players who others might not even have heard of. But the important thing here, Nelsen, Liang, is the fact that the football economy. I mean, the economy worldwide is in a bad state, but the football economy, for me, in England, has always been a false economy. Never mind getting 80 million for Cristiano Ronaldo, you're not allowed to spend the money. So the message is clear now, that Man United don't have the buying power anymore. And you've got to start looking inwards. And that is why today, Arsene Wenger can walk tall and say, look, I saw this coming many, many years ago. That is why I stuck with my young team. We might not have won anything, but we are the team for the future. Man United have to rebuild. Chelsea have to rebuild. Who's in the other top four? Man City are rebuilding. Liverpool forget it. So this is the way to go now,
Yeah.
People who've had good, proper development programs will prosper in the future.
Right, but Liang, I'm going to ask you, I mean, he mentioned Arsenal, but Arsenal, funnily enough, after Barcelona came out and said, Wenger said, look, now, all of a sudden, he says he's got to spend, he's got to splurge for next season. So what do you make of that?
But I think the core of the team has always been there. And, Arsene Wenger's always had a philosophy, if you've got a good young team, and that's where I'm going to go. Right. There's no real urge to splurge. He doesn't really have like an Abramovich bankrolling his finances, funding him. So I don't think, that's just his football philosophy. So I think now it's just a repercussion after the whole Barcelona game.
Right.
They just got whitewashed.
Yeah.
So I think it's just a reaction to that game.
I agree with Liang. I think it was an immediate reaction.
Yeah.
Right.
But obviously, if the rumours are true and if Marwan Shamak is coming to Arsenal, if you can get a player who's going to take you to the next level straight away,
Definitely.
then you do that. But otherwise, it's no point wasting money and hoping that something will happen. So yes, I mean, it's prudent management from Arsene Wenger.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, time now very quickly for our email of the week, which comes from Muhammad Zaidi, who's a fan of Spanish football in general. He says that from the way they play, you can't help but want to support teams like Real Madrid and Barcelona, especially the latter. I mean, who have Lionel Messi. Shebs, moving away from the BPL a bit, we know Barca beat arch rivals Real by 2 goals to 0, with Messi scoring again. So in terms of the title race in Spain, Shebs, would you say it's Barca's to lose? And your thoughts on Messi?
Yeah, very much so. I think, it's Barca's to lose now. I don't think anybody can stop them. Leo Messi, on my Twitter page, I wrote Leo Messi, son of God, but a Man United fan. And I'm telling you, it's Brian Martin wrote, no, Shebs, Leo Messi is God.
Well said.
So if Brian Martin says that, I'm not going to argue.
Right. For the winning email, Zaidi, you've picked up a nice prize courtesy of Football Every Day. And if you're a Maybank account holder as well, you also take home a Maybank pack consisting of a Maybank bag and an Adidas Premium. So write to us as well, drop us a line at football@thestar.com.my. Till we see you in the third segment, it's time now for our final break on the show. So we'll see you real soon on Football Every Day, brought to you by Maybank Premier Accounts. You're back with us on Football Everyday, brought to you by Maybank Premier Accounts, and this is where we preview the weekend's massive fixtures. And tell you what, massive doesn't get any more massive than this weekend, as it's practically derby weekend, right, guys? Okay, but just before that, speaking of derbies, Shebs, let me quickly get your thoughts. Tomorrow morning's London derby between Spurs and Arsenal at White Hart Lane. Both teams need a win, right? If the Gunners, and the Gunners win, they'll go second, a point above United. While 3 points for Spurs, we'll see them move within a point of fourth place City. So, can you see a winner? And if yes,
I've got to go with Arsenal. I think they have more to play for, to be honest. And I think Spurs will get caught out after that energy-sapping defeat against Portsmouth.
Right.
So Arsenal for me to win it narrowly, but Arsenal to win.
All right, okay, we'll see what happens. But the massiveness continues at the City of Manchester Stadium, where City hosts arch rivals United. So Liang, let me start with you in this one. Early in the season, we know Michael Owen scored in the infamous 6 minutes of extra time game, injury time game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 4-3. So what do you see happening this time?
I don't know, it's looking quite tight. But what happened was, Man City did what Man United couldn't. They scored in abundance. And I don't see that happening with Berbatov leading the line. I just don't see that happening. So I think, my heart says Man U's going to win, but my head tells me something else. So I'm going for a Man City win.
Man City win? Wow, it's the first time I've heard you say that on the show, man.
It's logical.
Sir Alex might have come out and said they've lost the title, but knowing him, he'll definitely demand that his boys win their 4 remaining matches, right? Starting with City, of course.
Very much so. I don't think he will accept anything else. And that is what has made him ever so successful.
Right.
That is what makes Man United one of the most successful, if not the most successful club in the world.
Yeah.
So the hunger, the desire will be there. And, the last thing you want to do is to lose bragging rights. So, I will like to agree with Liang, but unfortunately, I think Man United, because I mean, for Man City, it will be how do we handle the occasion?
Yeah.
But for Man United, we've been there, we've done that.
Right.
So I'm going to go with a score draw.
Score draw. I'm thinking United.
I like it that way too. I like it that way.
I'm thinking United can win by the odd goal, but we'll see. Okay, from one derby to another.
One of us will be right.
At White Hart Lane, we're just after Arsenal. Spurs welcome Chelsea. Liang, Spurs might do United and Chelsea a favour. You think, is it possible? Can they beat the Blues?
Spurs and Chelsea. Well, okay, we've got two teams who have both a little something to fight for,
Right.
fourth place and the title. I think it's going to be, and you know, on top of that, you throw in a derby, a local derby, a London derby. And I think if you take away both incentives, the derby is enough of a fixture itself to get, you know, emotions
Right,
going and pumping.
right.
And I think the way it's going, it's looking Chelsea. They're just really solid as a unit. You know, they've got a great manager. He's just not bought by the mind games of Sir Alex Ferguson. And I see it going Chelsea's way.
Right, Shebs, I mean, just like United last week, right? Spurs' season, you know, could just implode in a week, you know. I mean, look, they're out of the FA Cup. They might lose to Arsenal tomorrow, and then they have Chelsea on the weekend, which they could lose that as well. Right.
Yeah, I mean, for Spurs to win against Chelsea, Chelsea will have to play badly.
Yeah.
Right.
There's no other way that they're going to beat Chelsea. So yes, the season, I mean, as a Spurs fan, I think the season is already over. I think Europa League, fifth spot, Europa League is, I think,
At
where
best.
we belong at this moment in time. Because like I said, I don't think Harry's the one who's
Right.
going to take us to the next level.
Right. So give me a score prediction in this one. Then.
Well, I'm going to go with Chelsea to win 2-1.
Right, okay. Over at Anfield, we're really bored of Anfield, but Liverpool entertains struggling West Ham, looking to bounce back, you know, from the disappointing 0-0 draw against Fulham. Liang, the Reds should beat the Hammers, but can they do it? You think, you know, that's been the question about Liverpool, right?
You know, I've got a soft spot for Gianfranco Zola. I've just got a soft spot for the guy. Nice, likable guy, great striker in his
Right.
prime. You know, did okay as a manager. The 1-0 win that they just had would have served them, you know, just giving them a little bit of a push, like, hey guys, let's get together and let's try and avoid relegation.
Right.
And the way things are going with Liverpool, I think it just might be a West Ham win.
Wow, West Ham to win at Anfield, Shep?
I tell you what, you cannot write that off because obviously on Thursday there will be
Yeah.
the Europa League
Exactly.
game. So
They'll have one
you
eye
know,
on the
that's right.
Real Madrid clash,
well,
right?
Talk about fresh
Rafa
legs.
Benitez, he'll have all four eyes on that.
Right. So it's going to be a West Ham win at Anfield, and you heard it from the guys here on Football Everyday. It's a nice one, guys. Just before we leave, as usual, today's Football Everyday fun fact is in fact on Burnley's 2-goal penalty skipper hero Graham Alexander. Guys, did you know that with the 2 against Hull, he's now on 9 goals for the season, but 8 of them have been penalties. Sheps,
I think
some
think
technique, isn't it? The toe poke.
well, really, I think Liverpool could do with a goal-scoring midfielder.
Yeah? Okay,
I
take
would-
penalties as well.
Yeah, get
I agree, yeah.
a young one like Graham Alexander in there to run midfield.
And maybe Darren Bent should take some penalty taking lessons as well, right?
Oh
Harry
yeah,
wouldn't
possibly.
agree.
Possibly, yeah. I think Graham Alexander should start the school of penalty taking.
All right, nice one, Sheps. Liam,
A pleasure indeed.
pleasure. It's been
Likewise,
yeah.
likewise.
A
Guys,
pleasure.
good to have you with
Likewise.
us. Thanks for being here today. That's about all the time we have on today's episode of Football Everyday, brought to you by Maybank Premier Accounts. So do enjoy your football, and we'll see you real soon next week on the same show, same time. Ciao.